Hello and welcome to Quarterlight and Ford Fridays, where we'll be looking at the Mark II Ford Fiesta. Welcome back, and Quarterlight, if you don't know, we're a car brochure channel looking at car brochures from around the world. So if you think that will interest you, please consider subscribing. Anyway, back to today's episode, or what we now refer to as Ford Fridays, where we look at a Ford brochure every Friday. Today is the turn of the Mark II Ford Fiesta. The Mark II Ford Fiesta first launched in August 1983. It ran all the way till February 1989. The brochure that we're going to look at today is actually from February 1988, so kind of like just one more year of the Fiesta Mark II before, again, a new change on the Mark III. But anyway, let's have a look at today's brochure. Okay, so here is today's brochure, quite simply entitled Cars. It's going to be the full range brochure, this particular one, dated February 1988, and what looks like a Mark IV Ford Escort. Red lines on there probably means it's the LX version. But anyway, let's look inside the brochure and see if we can find that Mark II Fiesta. And as we get to the first page of the Fiestas, it's shown as a nice image of an XR2, a very memorable car from the time for sure. The XR2 didn't come out when the Mark II was launched. I think it was 1984 before the XR2 came out. Ford very good at doing these sort of sporty models and adding sort of like nice wheels and really making it stand out. I was always surprised though that they kind of like put the Fiesta and the XR2, which you probably can't even make out, in sort of the red as well. You'd think they'd put a different colour on there, different decal colour, to make it stand out more, but nevertheless there it is. So let's look in the brochure anyway, because we certainly won't be starting off at the XR2. Typically in Ford brochures we start off with the base model. Anyway, let's turn the page, see what we can see first. And it gives you sort of a little bit of an X-ray shot of the Mark II Fiesta. Like I say, it was only really a mild facelift of the original. I guess the front end was the most noticeable with these curving round indicators. We haven't got time to look through all this. Let's see what the base model at this time was. And there it is, the Fiesta Popular. Also shown on this page, one more model up, the Fiesta Popular Plus. Anyway, let's have a look at some of this detail. Okay, so here is the Fiesta Popular, base model loveliness. I think it's quite nice though. They did actually do colour coordinated front bumpers, or painted bumpers if you like. Not a bad looking car overall. Super basic wheels on this model though. And it says on here, economical and versatile, the value for money Fiesta Popular is one of today's best buys on four wheels. Features include a laminated windscreen, halogen headlamps, and a robust and reliable 950 engine that develops 45 PS and runs on 2-star petrol, if we all remember 2-star petrol. What else have we got on here? Not a great deal more really. It's talking about this Fiesta Popular. I think that's pretty much it, because if we'll go down, it talks about the Fiesta Popular Plus, first mentioning this little radio. Ford's push-button MWLW radio is a Fiesta Popular Plus option. So that's an extra cost for that little radio, even on the one model up, the Popular Plus. So, you know, the base Popular, and we'll look at the specs, was super basic indeed. Although in some ways, I think we kind of like miss those really basic stripped out cars today that you could buy for not too much money. It's kind of like sad, but I guess with all these safety features that we have to have on modern cars, these basic models have kind of like been lost, unfortunately. Anyway, the Fiesta Popular Plus, it says, true to its name, the Fiesta Popular Plus builds on the Popular's solid foundations by providing extra equipment and a choice of engines. They include Ford's remarkably refined and economical 1.6 diesel. And would you get a diesel Fiesta? I'm not sure. Anyway, it says some of the features include we've got a choice of a 950 or a 1.1 petrol engine or that 1.6 litre diesel, and we've even got a 5-speed gearbox standard on the diesel, body coloured steel bumpers and grey protection mouldings on end caps. You know, this is it's kind of like surprising, really, isn't it? Late 80s, we've still got steel bumpers, which kind of like you think that's a little bit behind the times for sure. We've also got body side mouldings, 2 door mirrors and a laminated windscreen. Oh wow, we say 2 door mirrors, so what? But you know, it's not that long ago that there was only sticking 1 mirror on the driver's side. We've also got tailgate and heated windows and wash wipe, colour-toned fleece carpet in passenger car compartments, tracer cloth trimmed door panel inserts. And it also gives you a little bit of an idea about the insurance groupings. Very different back then, but you can see that 950 in insurance group 1, so the cheapest car on the road to insure, which, you know, for a cheap vehicle to also have cheap insurance was certainly a big thing. We then get a glimpse of that interior. Really doesn't look anything really that spectacular, does it? And then I'm assuming that this one is actually the Popular Plus. Does it tell me? Yes, it does tell me. It tells me here, I guess. This is confirming that that is the Popular Plus. That picture we just looked at is telling us that's the Fiesta Popular Plus, has body side mouldings to protect its paintwork, rearward visibility is enhanced by mirrors on the driver and passenger door. The 40 litre fuel tank has a lockable filler cap, kind of like things we kind of like would certainly expect on a car today. And it doesn't usually look like it's actually got painted white wheels, if my eyes don't deceive me, which is certainly a little bit unusual as well. And we get a few more little images. We're not going to read all this because the brochure review will be far too long, but you know, a very basic interior all round. I guess just before we turn the page and see what model is next on the range, I should really point this out. You know, the rear seats on this very basic Popular Plus, yeah, they do fold, but it's not split, is it? Which is a certain little bit of a unusual thing, and kind of like, you know, doesn't help its practicality really, does it? And I guess it doesn't even fold perfectly flat by the looks of it either. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, and here is the next model up, the Fiesta L. I guess straight away we can notice there are some changes on this. We've got this very nice sort of like rubbing strip going down the side of the car, which certainly helps with supermarket rash. And I guess we've also got these little wheel caps, you know, centre wheel cap, not full wheel trims, let's not get carried away, but we have got these centre caps. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the text. Okay, so what extra have we got on the Fiesta L? Well, it says the well-equipped Fiesta L's versatility is enhanced by a back seat that split folds 60/40. So there we go, we do now get that split fold on the rear seat. Now we've moved up to the L. Choice of engines, a 950, 1.1 or a 1.4, or indeed that 1.6 diesel. 5-speed gearbox standard on the 1.4 and diesel. Body coloured steel bumpers with grey protection mouldings, wide body side mouldings, remote control driver's door mirror, heated rear window, tailgate, wash wipe. So we are certainly moving up with those features. We've got an illuminated cigar lighter, front seats trimmed with helix fabric and fully adjustable head restraints. that 60/40 seat, center console with 4 face level vents, lidded glove box, instrument panel with analog clock and trip meter. Oh look, we've now got a radio as standard, a P21 push button MW/LW radio. I think that's the same radio that was an option on the Popular Plus. And then finally it just says key optional features available at extra costs. We can get an automatic transmission on the 1.1. Moving on to the little images, if we can now see that split fold on the Fiesta L. Again, it doesn't look like it folds perfectly flat. Maybe it does. It's hard to say. I don't think it does quite goes level, because unfortunately it doesn't look like the seat base there doesn't flip. It's just the back's folding down, and they don't look particularly fat seats, so I'm not sure how comfortable those are. Interior wise, nothing really special, although we can no longer see the body colour. I must admit I quite like seeing that body colour on the basic ones, but there we go. It's covered up in grey plastic now. Our interior featuring that now standard radio, which is nice, and we can see our cigar lighter, etc, etc. So I guess what we should do is kind of like compare this interior to the base models, because it's one of those things with these base model cars, and when we look at the Fiesta in particular, it's completely different, the interior. It's not just a small change you usually see on cars. Base models have basically got the same sort of layout with things missing. In the Fiesta, between the L's and the Populars, it is a completely different interior. So if we look at this interior, yes, we got the radio there, and we were saying before that the Fiesta Popular Plus has got the option for this radio, but even if you option the radio on the Popular Plus, it wasn't positioned here. Let's just go back a page and I'll show you what I mean. Popular Plus interior, vastly different, isn't it? So no radio position, or even to stick the radio in there, no sort of like standard looking controls. And I guess if we move over to this position, you can see where they tucked the radio in. If you did option the radio on the Popular Plus, a sort of like a more, I kind of like think a more old-fashioned way of doing it, tucking the radio down there. Probably quite difficult to reach to change the channel or tune the radio in. It's a little bit weird, isn't it? So I just wanted to show you how vastly different that basic Popular and Popular Plus was to the L. And of course you can see there the body coloured interior, which I was talking about before. So somebody in the comments were once asking me why I like these base models. This is really why, because kind of like these unique little features you got on the Popular Plus. Yeah, it wasn't as good, but it's just different, isn't it? And you'd think it'd be cheaper for Ford just to make one layout rather than making this different layout for the base models, but there you go. As we turn the page, we notice it's kind of like a little bit unusual. You kind of like think you're missing something. We've gone straight from an L, no GL, straight to the Ghia, which always seems a little bit of a leap, doesn't it, from an L to a Ghia, so the car you aspired to own. But let's have a look at some of the text, see what you did get for that extra money jumping up to a Ghia. Certainly the seats look a lot nicer, and I guess we got a little bit of chrome on there now as well. So let's have a look, see what it says. Okay, so first of all, nice to see that little Ghia badge there, isn't it? Big car luxury combined with small car convenience in the nippy Fiesta Ghia. It comes complete with such attractions as tinted glass, sunroof, tachometer and 4-speaker audio equipment. Ford's all-new automatic transmission is available with the 1.1 litre engine. And key features, we've got a choice of a 1.1 or a 1.4 litre lean burn engine with that 5-speed gearbox with the 1.4. It looks like no diesel choice now on the Ghia. And that little very basic tilt or remove glass sunroof, which I probably would do without personally. Front bumpers with integral overriders and wide body side mouldings have bright inserts. Remote control door mirrors, tilt or remove glass sunroof, stylish wheel covers. Yeah, I'm sorry, we've got wheel covers, yes, we haven't got alloy wheels. Think yourself lucky, you've got a full wheel trim now. Colour keyed velour carpet seats trimmed with Olivia and crushed velour fabrics, digital clock, tachometer, trip recorder and vanity mirror on passenger's sun visor, 60/40 split rear seats, light or fleece carpeted load area or load compartment. We've now got a better radio, a self-seek FM cassette, very nice, and key optional features are that little automatic gearbox. A little bit of an image of the Ghia. It does look nice with these sort of chrome inserts. The Ghia badge always looks nice when you drive alongside them. Also, like it says, we've now got a full wheel trim. Features typical for the well-equipped Fiesta Ghia include a digital clock mounted on the neat overhead console. What an unusual place to put the clock. And like we saw earlier, those are seats. They certainly do look, they are trimmed a lot nicer. Again, I guess we're really proud of having that wheel trim because we do get a little bit of an image just showing that wheel trim. A little bit of the Ford logo in the centre there, and then if we pan back we get an image of the interior and that much nicer radio. It looks very similar actually to my dad's Sierra L actually, just to give you an idea of the trim levels. And we've got a rev counter on there as well. So I guess now the idea, we've moved away from the kind of like standard trim levels and now gone into sporty with the 1.4S. Typical S, we've got these little spotlights or driving lights, and it looks like unusually we've got white wheel trims on this one. But let's have a look at some of the text. So these only come as a 1.4 by the looks of it, powered by a lean burn engine that delivers 75 PS. Ford's frisky Fiesta 1.4S is the answer if you want a sporty super mini that costs remarkably little to run. The car looks are as attractive as its performance. So what can this little car do? It's telling us 0 to 60 in 10.8 seconds, which, you know, reasonable I guess for the time. We've got a 5-speed gearbox, full covers for the wheels, bumpers with wide body side mouldings and red inserts. I kind of like Ford likes putting red inserts rather than chrome for sporty models, although of course they also added it red inserts for other models like, you know, the LX's, Escorts and Sierras for whatever reason as well. Halogen headlamps supplemented by driving lights. Two-tone paint scheme with grey paint treatment below body side mouldings. Front bumper has overriders, fleece carpets, illuminated switchgear, front seats trimmed in tracer fabric. What else? We've got storage facilities, door bins, glove box, sports type steering wheel, different steering wheel, so we'll have a look at that. We've got a tachometer, which would make sense on a sportier model, and a 4-speaker self-seek cassette player, probably similar to what we had in the Ghia. So I guess this is a bit like a Ghia really, but the sporty version of it. Here is the full image, and it's hard to make out really on this black, but it's telling us, you can just about make it out on the bumper. You can just see kind of like it's grey two-tone effect on there. A little bit of an image of how much you can fit in the boots, and because it's a sporty model, obviously you want some kind of sporty game to play. A glimpse at that interior. The sporty steering wheel, I think, is probably the only difference really there. I don't think I particularly like that steering wheel with the holes in it there, I must admit, but there it is. And a nice image of the front end and those white wheel trims. And then we've finally come to the last model in the range. What I would say would be my favourite Mark II Fiesta, the XR2. Just from its looks alone, it does look something a little bit special. Particularly like these alloy wheels. You think, oh yes, finally, the only model that comes standard with alloy wheels, but actually the alloy wheels on the XR2 actually are an optional extra, but you certainly would want them. It really finishes off the look very nicely. Love the wheel arches. It does look good, particularly in this red. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the features. Okay, so the Fiesta XR2, good for 0 to 60 in just 9.3 seconds. Quite reasonable, really. I'm sure it felt a lot faster than that in such a small car. For its pace setting, Fiesta XR2 gets its sizzling performance from its very efficient 1.6 litre engine. Power is complemented by modified suspension, low profile tyres and ventilated disc brakes for the front wheels. Key features is that 1.6 litre engine, telling us a top speed of 109 miles per hour, which isn't bad, is it, for a small car in the late 80s, to be fair. Sports suspension, front wheels fitted with ventilated fade fighting disc brakes, front and rear spoilers, halogen headlamps plus powerful driving lights, bumpers with red inserts, full wheel covers. So there you go. Standard, it just came with full wheel covers, so alloy wheels are an attractive and appropriate option. I have to admit, it would have to have those alloy wheels, really, wouldn't it? Windscreen wipers with intermittent setting, tilt or remove screened glass sunroof, 60/40 seat backs, courtesy lights, contoured sports seats with Monaco cloth. That sounds very sporty to start with, doesn't it? A sports type soft feel steering wheel. Let's see if it's the same as the S. Instrument including a tachometer, and that's a cassette player. Looks like the same sort of thing. Let's have a look at the inside. I was a little bit disappointed with the XR2 actually on the inside. Really doesn't look anything that special. We've still got the S's steering wheel. Would have liked to see a nicer steering wheel, to be fair. And if we look at the interior, it's kind of a bit bland, isn't it, on the inside? The inside of the XR2 really doesn't match the outside, in my opinion. And then on the back, if we zoom in, we get a little image of that rear wiper and heated rear screen. Unusual little spoiler as well, isn't it? Rather than going down here, it kind of like goes all the way around the back window, which is certainly a nice little touch. Okay, and then we get to Fiesta's technical specifications. So we'll look through the technical specification. Don't worry, no music. I know some people don't like any music on this, so I'm going to stay away from that for the time being at least. Starts off with the dimensions, which we won't really look at too much, but then if we look down here, it gives us some specifications on the engines. Okay, so the engines, I'm not going to go through all this information, but of course you can pause it at any time. Starting off with the 950 on there, and then we move on to the 1.1. I think, it was quite a good little choice of engines at this time, really, wasn't it? That 1.4. And then we move to the 1.6. And of course that diesel as well, that unusual diesel. I don't know how many diesels were sold, but I don't know how I feel about that particular diesel. We'll have to look at the price of it later on, I think. But we can certainly have a look at some of the performance figures for those different engines. Ranging from that 950 to having a top speed of 85, 0 to 16, 17.8, to that 1.6 with 109 miles per hour and a 9.3 on that XR2, of course. Some of the fuel economy figures there. The bottom figures are the diesel, so you can certainly see that huge jump in fuel efficiency on that diesel version. That certainly would have been a plus point for sure. And a little bit of information about the gross weight, maximum towing limits and maximum roof load. We then move on to the next page. And on there, what's it talking about here? The different engines, different curb weights, by the looks of it. Unusual little bit of a thing, and also at the end there it does tell us the insurance groups of each model as well. And then if we move down the page, it kind of like tells us on here what option you could get on each individual model. So on there we can see, so the 1.4 for example, it was only available on the L, the Ghia or the S. The diesel only available on the Popular Plus or the L by the looks of it. And that little 950 only available on the Popular Plus and L. But of course you can pause it if you want to look at any of this in any more detail, but that's kind of like giving us an idea of some of the other specifications on the various models. And then over the page, the Fiesta's exterior specifications. So we'll certainly have a look at those as well. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to go through all this, but you can pause it anytime if you want. But it kind of gives you what additional exterior features are standard on the Popular Plus, L, Ghia, 1.6 or indeed the XR2. So if you do want to look at this, pause that screen now. We'll move down further on though, and we can have a look there. It's also talking about the spoilers, the tinted glass, tyre choices, wheels, and then even the wheel covers, you know, ranging from a black centre cap to a silver centre cap to, wow, a full wheel cover. And then similar sort of deal here, the interior features that you could have. Again, if you want to look at this in any sort of great detail, you can certainly pause the screen if you need to. Moving down, we've also got at the bottom here instrument panels, lights, luggage compartment and mirrors. On the next page we've got a continuation of those interior features, so seats, steering wheel, that sunroof and the wipers. And then if we go down, we've actually got the Fiesta colour and trims available for each individual model. So we've got diamond white, ivory, rosso red, burgundy red, galaxy blue, maritime blue and black, which is telling us is an extra cost. Remember when we had to pay more for black? And then we got metallic body colours. Of course they're going to be extra cost as well, so strato silver, silica gold, chestnut, regency red, crystal blue, willow green and mercury grey. Also showing the different seat fabrics and how they combine with whichever colour you choose. And then on the next side we get to the Fiesta price guide. So what have we got here? So that very basic Popular 950, £4,809.91. Looks like that goes all the way up to the XR2, which is £7,832.28. And then we've got those diesels. So if we pick like a diesel, so if you got a Popular Plus 950, it's 5,331. So the diesel is 6,364. So the diesel option, a 1.6 diesels, was around about £1,000 more than your 950. Was it worth it at the time? How long would it take you to make up that cost difference? I guess you would have had to be using your little Fiesta quite a bit to make it worthwhile, I guess. And then we've even got the Fiesta options guide, the different prices of whichever option that you picked. The option that I would have certainly picked for that XR2 was those alloy wheels. There would have been an extra £190, and I'm sure that would be worth choosing. And I think that's why most of the XR2s, I seem to remember, did have those alloy wheels on it. If we move down the list, it kind of like ends with sort of like extra warranties, and actually the most expensive option you could buy are all these extra cover warranties that you could buy. And that brings us to the end of today's Ford Fridays and the Ford Fiesta Mark II. I hope you did enjoy today's episode. Please do share any memories you have of the Ford Fiesta Mark II. Always enjoyed reading those. But for now, we'll say thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Take care. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.